Hello and welcome to this episode of my Flosstube. My name is Jacob de Graaf. I am the owner and designer of Modern Folk Embroidery. And today is the second video in my holiday countdown Sal video thing that we're doing. There might be some more videos coming up, but today I'm going to share with you my favorite holiday music that I like to listen to. So I am not a huge sort of Christmas album person. I find that certain albums I just drift towards a little bit more during the winter season. One of them that I like to spin is this wonderful one, which is Goldfrapp, Tales of Us, which is a really wonderful album. I'll put links to the artist's website, but you can find these on Spotify as well, or Apple iTunes, whatever it's called, not Apple Music, I think. There's loads of places that you can listen to this or get a hard copy, like a lovely vinyl one. I mean, there is nothing quite like a beautiful record to put on. Another one that I really enjoy listening to is Enya's Watermark album, which is a great one. It's got the famous Orinoco flow on there, Sail Away, Sail Away, Sail Away. It's a great album, I love this one, and I tend to drift towards the Enya albums during the winter season a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the Christmas album that she's done, although Ia Huan is really beautiful. That's the Silent Night one that she's released a million times on different EPs, but it stays a really good tune. So, but yeah, that is always a good one. A proper winter album now, Loreena McKennett's To Drive the Cold Winter Away. This is a really beautiful album, I think. It's got some fantastic tunes, some lesser known tunes as well. It's recorded in 1987, this one. I think in, Guelph or something like that. It's in Canada, Ontario. So the whole thing is actually not that far away from Evertote. Of course, Canada is big, and I know that Ontario is not small either. But if you look at the whole of Canada, I think Loreena is not that super far from where Evertote is. So there's your link for today. But it's a beautiful album. It's really gorgeous. A very good friend of mine plays the cello for Loreena actually, and is currently on tour. So if you're in Canada, I think there's one or two gigs that haven't completely sold out, but it's worth checking out the Loreena McKennett website. I think it's just quinlanroad.com or loreenamckennett.com that you can visit and find tour dates. But that's sort of a winter album. The winter album that I have the warmest memories to, it's quite actually not this one because I couldn't find an old copy of the original one, but Mahalia Jackson's Christmas album. Now, when I was young, my dad, who passed away in 91, but he would wake up very early on Christmas morning and set the table, make a beautiful table. We had this beautiful damask cloth, so it would be decked properly, all spread out with a beautiful Christmas meal, and it was basically traditional sweet sugar loaf in a turban form, which was prepared, which we would order from a local bakery, and it was always super yummy, super cozy. But on Christmas morn, we would be woken up with the sounds of basically the bells ringing in Mahalia Jackson's Silent Night song. And there is something every time I hear Mahalia Jackson sing that song, I kind of get goosebumps and remember that. And it's a tradition that I have continued now. I get up very early in the morning and make the table, and we have breakfast with Silent Night. It's a beautiful album. I would love to find the original album. I know my mum and sis have it, and of course they still play the original album, but I just need to find a good second-hand copy, I think, because though this is not bad artwork, I prefer the old one. I think it was very bright and very colourful. I seem to have very fond memories of that. But I wanted to share with you my favourite song, which is a weird one, because it's technically neither a Christmas song, nor was it traditionally sung during the winter time. It was actually sung during the summer. And it is about murder. But it is beautiful. And it is very Christmassy in many ways. It's the Coventry Carol. Now, this is a traditional tune now, but it was originally written in the 16th century, and it is part of the Coventry Mystery Plays cycle. And the Mystery Plays was one of the early European sort of forms of theatre, like mass theatre in towns, and guilds would hold these fantastic spectacles and put on these plays based on stories from the Bible. And they ranged from anything from the creation up to the Last Judgment and everything in between. And of course, the story of the birth of Jesus would not be missed out as well. And the Coventry Carol is really moving because it's like a lullaby sung by the mothers of the innocents. And in a way it ties to the Christmas period as well, because the children so supposedly slain by King Herod, according to the Gospel of Matthew, they had their own feast, the Day of the Innocents, on the 28th of December. And they're supposed to be the first martyrs as well, because of course all of the martyrs follow the life of Christ. And because he was just a baby, and they were all babies as well. But I just really love the lullaby form of it. It is such a moving. It could have been all dread and despair, but there is something so moving about the way that the lullaby is sung. And it is a very moving piece. And kind of coming back to Lorena again, because she recorded a beautiful one on an EP from the late 90s, I would say, mid-late 90s. I think it might have been 95, called Songs from the Winter Garden. And it was just 5 songs initially. And that's where my friend made her first appearance on that album, playing the cello. And it's a gorgeous album, that one. It's really nice. And Coventry Carol is on that one as well. And Lorena does an amazing job. It's actually part of her current tour as well. And a bunch of years ago, Lorena did some extra songs that she put on A Midwinter Night's Dream, which is this one. So all 5 songs from the original EP are there, plus a whole bunch of other tunes. So this is on beautiful vinyl with a lovely illustration. There's some really gorgeous songs on there. Seeds of Love is a personal favorite as well. Un Flambeau Jeannette, Isabelle is on there, which is really nice. The Holly and the Ivy. So just a great album, this one. But to sort of circle back to the Coventry Carol, the whole Lully Lulay thing is not just for the Coventry Carol. It's one of the songs that make it the most famous, but there have been a great many songs from the sort of late medieval period that use the Lully Lulay lullaby words in them. One of them is a piece known as the Falcon Carol, sometimes also called the Corpus Christi Carol, and it is an absolutely spectacular song put to music by Benjamin Britten in the 20th century, and many fantastic classical singers have sung that. But my favourite version of that one is by the wonderful Jeff Buckley, who recorded it on his album Grace. And it is just spectacular what Jeff Buckley does with his voice. He doesn't only sing beautifully, but he understands the music on such an intuitive level and on such a raw level, and it just, when you hear this, it is absolutely stunning. And he could go high. He had like an amazing falsetto voice, and He actually treats us to a final note, which is not in the original score of Benjamin Britten, where the last note goes really high in Jeff Buckley's version, and it's missing from the original score. And I think it's a beautiful addition to this piece, although I guess Britten's choice was to have that sort of linger a little bit more, and he finalizes a little bit more with that last high note. But it is beautiful. It is definitely recommended listening. But the cool thing was, when I was doing research into the Coventry Carol, and I'm using the term research lightly, it's basically opening a Wikipedia page called Coventry Carol. But Wiki is amazing. If you can support them, by the way, it's always welcome, because Wikipedia does an amazing job of distributing knowledge on the internet, I think. But when I was looking at the Coventry Carol, I discovered that John Jacob Niles, an American composer and writer from the US, he supposedly collected an Appalachian version of this. And his theory was that this might have traveled to the Appalachian Mountains with the English and Irish immigrants who then sort of settled there, and this is a different form, and perhaps it might be a more ancient form of the carol, or just an altogether early development of this very carol. The thing was, he said that he had learned it from an old lady in a grey hat, and if you think I smell a rat, that's what I thought when I read it. However, it is believed that he might not be completely fibbing, as some scholar found a written book from the 19th century which actually had a melody very similar to the melody of Niles, and the words were quite similar as well. It was not quite the Coventry Carol, but it had that same melody as Niles had been taught. So it is not completely unlikely that Niles was actually telling the truth, and that he had learned it from someone who who chose to remain anonymous. And the melody is extraordinary. There is a very old recording from 1938 of Niles. I think it is his debut recording that he did, and Niles went on to become really important for the early American folk scene. Joan Baez in the 1960s and 50s, I think those people were all very influenced by his folk singing and by his early albums. And it's easy to see why, because he brought to the folk scene a sense of research and knowledge, and his songs were just really beautiful that he had gathered. And as I was doing all of this, I should have been doing a lot of other work. I just thought, like, maybe I should record his melody instead of the very well-known Coventry Carol melody. So that's what I did, and I have recorded it. It is nearly finished. I just want to go over it one more time. And tomorrow, on the 5th of December, that is. Tomorrow is, because I'm recording this on the 3rd of December, obviously. But on the 5th, just make yourself a nice cup of coffee, tune back in. I'll put it up in the morning, again, like this video as well. I try to put these up around 7 or 8 Dutch time in the morning. So on the 5th, you'll get a little bonus song, which I had not planned at all, but yeah, it's out there now. So it is unannounced, Coventry Carol, coming to you on the 5th of December. For now, I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep stitching. I wish I could join you, but I'm quite busy doing videos and recording songs that no one asked me to do. But I'm living vicariously through all of your stitching on Instagram. I follow the Countdown Sal hashtag, which is very exciting. I just love seeing what everyone is stitching, and I look forward to keep everyone's progress. Thank you so much for watching. You will see me very soon again. Bye bye.